Here is why you should not believe in any conspiracy that the Bible has been changed in order to manipulate groups of people throughout history. I agree, the Bible has been used to manipulate groups of people throughout history, and it's been taken out of context, but the words within this text itself are actually extremely historically accurate. I'm going to show you here why. So we have an interlinear Bible, Hebrew, Greek, and English. Hebrew for the Old Testament, Greek for the New Testament, and English for both. If you look here, you see that there are Greek letters on this page. Those are based off of ancient Greek manuscripts, for which we have over 5,000 dating from the 1st century AD to the 10th century AD of the New Testament, all agreeing to an infinitesimal degree. I'm going to show you right here is a case where we do not have an agreement between some manuscripts. If we look at chapter 16 in the book of Mark, we will find in some manuscripts we have verses 1 through 8 and then it ends, but in other manuscripts we have verses 9 through 20 appearing. Those verses 9 through 20 seem to appear in later centuries of the Greek manuscripts, in manuscripts that date to a later date than the manuscripts that only include 1 through 8. So scholars agree and historians agree that verses 9 through 20 were written by a different author other than Matthew. Another reason they've determined this is because the title for Jesus in this section here, this section 9 through 20, he uses a title for Jesus that is not used anywhere else throughout this book, and the writing style is also different than the rest of this book of Mark. So very easy to understand the concept here. We have earlier manuscripts that only include verses 1 through 8. 9 through 20 was seemingly added by a later author trying to, not necessarily trying to deceive people, because everything in this section 9 through 20 actually is in agreement for the most part with the teachings, the ethics, and does not argue against the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, as is told about in the rest of this book and the other 3 historical Gospels. Now, I'm going to jump over here. This is a newer translation. This translation is the ESV. It's based off of some of the oldest Greek and Hebrew manuscripts that we possibly can be used to translate. So this is translated once from the ancient Greek. Again, we have Greek manuscripts dating all the way back to the 1st century. So this is based off of one translation. They translated it once from Greek into English. And here we see that indeed it is included. 9 through 20 is included in chapter 16 of Mark. But it shows us right here, some of the earliest manuscripts do not include 16 verse 9 through 20. And it tells us a little bit more about that because this is a study Bible. It tells us a little bit more about it right there. But there's no conspiracy going on. Verses were not removed from the Bible. It seems that verses were possibly added to the Bible by later authors for their own reasons, for whether they wanted to determine or add more context, or they wanted to give. It seems like in this case they wanted a more smooth conclusion. But yeah, there's no conspiracy going on with the actual words of the Bible. The only conspiracies going on are when you take verses out of the Bible, you do not read them in context, and you use them to justify slavery or whatever sin you want to justify in your life. Please do not read out of context. Make sure that you are studying ancient Greek culture and manuscript textual criticism, things like that, to have a greater understanding of the Bible. So again, interlinear Bible. If you want to see the actual Greek and Hebrew, we have Strong's Concordance. This is basically a dictionary of Hebrew and Greek, where you can look up any one word, how many times it's used in the Bible, where those words are used in those ancient manuscripts. And you can learn a whole lot about the context of the Bible just using these simple tools.